So I just got back from my Google Step internship, and this is my preparation schedule that I went through in order to prepare for the 2 technical interviews that I had for Google Step internship. Once again, every day I would do 1 and up to 3 lead code or algo expert problems. The questions that I had on my internship interview were array-based questions for the most part. My first one was pretty simple array stuff, array accessing and things like that. And the second interview had to do with hash maps and a 2D array. My solution required a 2D array. So if you're deciding what to prep on, I would suggest get a really strong handle on arrays, 2D arrays, and then hash maps are really helpful. Google is pretty famous for graph questions. My second question I solved with a 2D array, but the interviewer told me it could have been solved with a graph. Also, real quick, one final thing on the interview stuff. Going back now thinking about it, at the very end of my Google preparation, I started doing coding interview patterns. I started studying the patterns first when I was trying to learn new things, and that I found to be super helpful in leveraging the tools that you get. So if I were to go back, I would also, the same thing, do those problems, but I would also start going over coding interview patterns. There's a Grokking the Coding Interview. There's a book, I think, but there's also a website and there's a GitHub repo that has like questions and then what pattern solves what question. So if you can get the patterns down, like the set of patterns, you can solve a bunch of questions. So I would go back and change that if I could. You should do that. So number 2, mock interviews. So me and my bestest friend in college, Sejal, me and her would do mock interviews every single day if possible, as much as we could. Like I said, we're doing 1 question a day of lead code or whatever, up to 3. Sometimes that 1 question would be 1 mock interview. Sometimes I do a question and then have my mock interviews with her, and we would try to do it literally every day. I mean, 7 days a week if we could, for at least an hour. And when we did the mock interviews, we did them as if it was a real interview. 30 minutes, we would not answer any questions, talk aloud as we were solving the problems. Make sure you ask for edge cases in the beginning. Is there going to be an empty array for this problem? Is this whatever? That's the first mock interview that I did. The other mock interview that I did, aside from the one I did with her every day, was a mock interview with an actual Google person, with a Googler. This was someone that I met through the recruiter at Google. It was someone I didn't know. I wasn't really comfortable with this guy. When I went into the mock interview, I was very nervous. That nervousness was the same that I felt when I was in my real interview afterwards. So I think, honestly, that interview with him was very helpful because it gave me a feeling of the emotions that I was going to feel the day of, being nervous, being kind of like shaky when you speak and things. Like, honestly, when you're in the interviews, your mind goes blank just because of how nervous you are. So having that experience ahead of time really helped me prepare for what I was going to experience in the interview. So that's the 2 styles of mock interviews. We'll call that 2 and 3. Number 4 is meditation. In my personal opinion, this was a huge factor in keeping my mind peaceful and calm and a bit relaxed because I knew how nervous and stressful I was going to be when the interview started. Now, I already do morning breathing meditation. It's not like a stay quiet type of meditation. It's a breathing thing. It's a breathing exercise. Maybe I should call it a breathing exercise instead. But it's a Wim Hof breathing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You can Google it. There's like a 10-11 minute video that I just listen to every day and I follow what they say, breathe in, breathe out. But at the end of it, I always feel really calm. I feel good and I feel my mind has quieted down a bit and the stress goes away. So I did that directly before my interview, and then my 2 interviews were back to back. So I did 1 before and then 1 between those 2 interviews. I wouldn't say this is totally necessary, but I would highly recommend it. Just give it a shot. Now, the 5th tip is food. Energy levels are important for me. I try to make sure that I have a steady energy level before I go into anything that's really important. I don't want to crash from sugar. I don't want to be too hyper. I just want to be steady. I have a very high protein breakfast. I have eggs and egg substitute and cheese and a bunch of stuff, and I don't have very many carbs in the morning, and I had my interview right after my breakfast. So I think that's a pretty important part of it. And a final bonus tip, maybe just words. I'm gonna wish you good luck. I know that the interview season's coming up and there's a lot of stress behind it. You feel like your life's riding on it, and it's not. Everything's gonna be okay, whether you get this job, whether you get this internship or not. I truly believe that if you work hard enough and if you're a good person, that good things are gonna happen to you eventually. So keep it up, keep working. I got your back. And if you have any questions or any way that I can help you, please just let me know. All right, that's it. Get out of here and good luck.